Oh, I got
Wait,
hit play on
what?
the shit.
Oh, nice money. That's
Clacking.
amazing.
There we go. All right, so here we go. Here's my review on The Legend of Zelda: The Skyward Sword. Let's begin from where we always do. The name of the game, just said it. Who made it? This is a first-party Nintendo game. I don't know the release date because our
it's
producer,
2011, actually.
2011.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's like November 18th.
That sounds
Josh,
about right.
Right?
You know what though? Because
I got it
I remember
day.
my friends playing it, like right around Christmas time, and that's.
It's definitely a
Well, they all got
10-year relaunch, so I know it's 2011.
Josh, what did you say? What did you just say?
November 18, 2011?
Did he nail it?
No, he did not.
Was it 28?
He nailed it. No, he nailed the European Union release.
Really?
Yeah, he missed the North America release by 2 days.
Is it the 20th?
Yes, it is.
I think
Josh
also the
European sleeper agent.
The GameCube was also released on November 18th, so I think my mind probably crossed those wires.
Okay,
that was really impressive. Like that's
hilarious.
Incredibly close.
That was weirdly close.
So this game originally released on the Wii. It was actually the final 3D Zelda game that we ever got.
That shit was 10 years ago. When did Breath come out? 3 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, until Breath of the Wild, which if you ask anyone on this podcast, we don't even consider that a Zelda game. So it's the final 3D Zelda game.
Pretty much.
This was recently
the first. Though.
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah, actually, yeah. Ironically, the first. We'll get into that in the spoiler stuff. But so recently re-released on the Nintendo Switch with updated resolution, updated controls, so on and so forth. And it's a lot of fun. So I actually had started this game on, because I do own the Wii version. I had started playing it on the Wii U, and I had planned on finishing it before this came out, but I just got busy. And so I just dropped that. I had gotten to like the third dungeon, I think. And then picked it back up with this one. Just started from scratch. So let's get into just our typical formula here. What did I like about the game? Well, obviously it's a Zelda game, and it hits every note that you want from a Zelda game.
I agree.
It's got the puzzles. It has the story. It has really fun and relatable characters. The music, the art design, the levels, the boss design. Like
this was the first Zelda with orchestrated music. The entire soundtrack was completely orchestrated.
Dude, the music is a 10. And honestly, the art,
music
if
is
you ask
beyond
me, is a 10 as well. So like, starting base score for this game for me is a 10 based on like the art design and the music alone. The art design I think is perfect. I like this is for me like the sweet spot for Zelda.
In between Wind Waker and Breath.
Yeah. Well, so my comparison would be Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, right? Because
I was going for a little more realism, but
right. That's what I'm saying. So here's the thing. Like this isn't it. Like it's got a little bit of realism, but not so much realism and like grungy darkness that it ruins it. It still maintains like it's kind of like artistic integrity, and it's not so cartoony like Wind Waker is. That it's not appealing to like people
Everything
like myself.
In the game was realistically believable within the world that it built. It wasn't like overly cartoony or overly realistic and not believable in either of those ways. I completely agree. Yeah.
So the artwork was actually based on the work of the Impressionist painters.
Oh, I can see that. It's like an oil painting.
Which was the next thing I was going to mention. Is it has kind of like to me it looks more like watercolor, especially in the backgrounds and stuff like that. I really love that. I think it's fucking gorgeous.
A whole game with that as the main. It's like crazy, and no one even like bats an eye. It's like Nintendo just does this shit, and it holds so well because of it. This will look good in 50 years. Like it still looks good.
And like I said, I have recently played the Wii version, and even though it isn't as
polished.
good. It like, resolution wise, it still looks great, especially for the time. You know, so I 100% agree. I think this game really holds up artistically. And music, yes, the same thing. Like Josh said, this is the first Zelda game, really the only Zelda game that is orchestrated. Well, I guess the remake of
well, no, it's not fully orchestrated.
Breath is trash music. There's not really fucking music in that game.
Actually, either there's synth and a lot of other stuff in it.
Right.
Yeah,
but
so the remake
Skyward
of
and Mario Odyssey were specifically fully orchestrated soundtracks because of what they're trying to accomplish.
Remake of Link's Awakening, fully orchestrated.
I'm not sure. I need a fact check.
Oh, is it?
That
Okay.
one.
Still really
I would
good.
like to know,
Well,
but
anyway.
I know they since Skyward Sword they have freely been using like actual instruments at a lot of parts though. Like, almost every Nintendo mainline game has real instruments in their soundtracks, if not necessarily all fully orchestrated. I know the Galaxies were. I don't know about Odyssey.
Sure,
I could maybe, but it's kind of awesome that they started doing that. And a lot of games still use like bullshit electronic tracks, and I'm like, it's nice Nintendo's good.
Let's see. I skipped what I didn't like about this game. Literally, the only thing I didn't like about this game was the controls, which has always been the complaint about this game. Though I don't think that the controls are so bad that it makes the game unplayable or even really that unpleasant.
Here's the thing. Is it even fair to judge it on that? Because it's like, if say the controls were perfect, would it even like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't interfere at all. The fact
if this
that
played like a regular Zelda game,
I don't think there would be
I think this would be everyone's favorite Zelda game.
I think that's a huge thing. Yeah. It just like, you can't just like press A and swing like and do these like Wind Waker, awesome sword play, and you don't have to do these weird motion controls.
Now the controller controls that they added to this game with this remake,
it's okay.
They're okay. They're not bad. And they do compensate for some of the kind of shitty things that the motion controls.
It's just snowy.
But the problem is this. The problem is that even with the updated controls that they added, it still feels like it was designed to be motion controls.
Yeah.
So that's where it kind of takes away.
It's like playing Donkey Konga with the GameCube controller.
Yeah,
like, wait,
dude, that's exactly what it's like. Actually,
like
yeah,
exactly.
That's
like
such
that,
a great analogy. Yeah,
really close. Yeah.
Or Jungle Beat.
Sure. Yeah. Perfect. So like I do think it's playable, and I think it's a very good way to play it, especially if you can only play it handheld. In fact, didn't you, Zach, play it that way?
I did. Yeah,
mostly?
I played it. I played it handheld. I continue to try to have a Switch game going at any given time so I can hang out in the other room and not be fixed to my computer during my free gaming time. So, yeah.
So
but with wife sleeping in bed, can't really flail the Wiimotes or the Joy-Cons around.
The Joy-Cons. What did you think before we move on? How did you like that style of control? Because I only like tested it out for like 5 minutes and switched back to.
I didn't use it as much either.
Yeah, so
it
I don't really.
Once bothered me.
Okay,
it
great.
Never once bothered me.
So that I might have to go through and
really
check
it's
it out.
only affecting the game when you're swinging the sword, and so like 99% of the game is not combat. It's like a little less, but so it really only affects it sometimes. Like Girahim must have been intense to learn. That's like galvanized into
so
the
I heard
controls.
Girahim was way easier with the stick controls.
Oh yeah, that's
because
right.
he can't tell where you're holding your controller.
He can, but it's easier to flick this
than it is to move your hand. Yeah,
exactly. Yep.
It's easy to use your thumb than your hand.
It's the difference between holding. I'm going to sort of do it with my thumb in front of my face here, going like this and then like that. That's how you get Girahim, and then or doing like this and then doing a full circle to hit him.
Yeah,
you'd have to like get his
more
away
subtle
from the sword and then be like shing shing and like
dude. The first time I did that fight, I was
so awesome, honestly, but
fucking enraged. The first time
it's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I fucking dude, I broke one of my my Wiimotes.
Oh my god!
Not the Wiimote itself, but the nunchuck. I had to buy a new nunchuck.
You threw it?
Yeah, because I fucking broke it during that fight. Like I was
Snacking on this counter. Oh no.
No,
But,
I pulled it
yeah,
out of
like-
the thing and it didn't like
Ah,
because I was
I mean,
spazzing. Like
I was like, I mean, I when I beat Garaham the first time, I posted to our Discord. I was like, oh, first boss was a piece of piss, and Colin goes, wait, what?
yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, I beat him first try, and Colin goes, no, you did not.
yeah.
I'm like, I did. I definitely kicked his ass, and Colin was like, I'm actually really impressed. And then he found out that I was using the
And he's like, fuck
the
you.
handheld, and he's like, oh, you cheated then.
Even
I'm like,
this time, my like 4th time playing him, that first fight, I still only had 1 heart left. I beat him on my first try, but I had 1 heart after using a fairy and collecting every heart in the room. He's so
Yeah, I
fucking
don't-
hard to me still.
I don't think he
like
touched
crazy.
me once.
Wow. I
So
hate you.
getting back to the review, that actually like brings us to a good spot here. Was the game
Yes.
difficult? So
do you
yeah,
think?
I mean, I think that there was parts of the game that were pretty difficult.
I think this is one of the hardest Zelda games.
I disagree.
Period.
Um,
Well, aside from the fucking, come on. Okay, 3D. I think it's one of the hardest 3D Zelda games.
yeah, I
minus
would
the
even
bosses,
do
minus
not,
the
dude. I
bosses.
would even say that,
So-
dude. I
No.
think this game, like,
let me
I think Ocarina of Time is harder than this easily.
It's
Way
like butter
harder.
under. That's like
But
melted
granted,
butter for me.
Josh, yeah, you know Ocarina
Maybe it's
way
different for me.
Yeah, you
Like,
speedrun
like I
that
said
game,
at the top
so
of the
that's
show,
not.
you and I
yeah.
need to shut up and let Paul do his thing
That
here
game
because
is like sleeping.
there's a
to
different
me.
perspective.
Yeah, because you've played it so many times.
Hey, what am
but
I
the
thinking?
first time,
Majora's
first
Mask
try.
is probably the hardest Zelda
Yeah.
game. What am I even saying? And Twilight Princess is harder.
Zelda's or Majora's
I
Mask.
actually
Okay,
thought
okay,
I thought
okay.
comparatively to those games, this game was pretty easy, especially when you go back. I did the trials for the shield,
Yeah, super easy.
and
I didn't even
like
bother.
the bosses
I
that
never
I
did
had
it,
struggled
yeah.
with before,
Well, I never
I went
did
back
it.
and did those, and I breezed through that.
Yeah.
You know, but that's not a knockout on it. It's just because I learned how to fight those bosses, and I think
Exactly.
that's one thing this game does really well is you know,
Let
it
you
does
be a Mega
have
Man
difficult fights, but once
Yeah.
you learn how to fight them, they're very fair and
Yeah.
they're very doable.
Well, every boss requires very specific action.
Yeah.
It's not
Mhm.
like just like cut it in this way. It's like, how do I beat it again? Like, no, it's
Yeah.
like you have to do this very specific motion.
Right.
And it's all motion based. It's always using the Zelda theory of the new item as well. So I love that. This is like
Yeah.
formula wise, hit every note for a Zelda game. And
Yeah.
so each boss is very easy to memorize, which is awesome.
Exactly.
But it lets a Mega Man player like myself or Paul
Yeah.
be a Mega Man player. Like we
And memorize,
know how to
yeah.
memorize bosses. That's what we're
Yeah.
used to.
Yeah.
So that
Find
sort
those
of
patterns,
boss
yeah.
rush is just we know how to.
I will
handle
say a
that.
majority of these bosses are like you don't lose a heart. Like a lot of them are super easy. Like even
Some of them, yeah.
Koloktos and like a few others. But
Especially
there are
when I
some
went
that are
back and
pretty
did
hard.
the boss rush. Like I went back and did the boss rush, and I barely lost a heart during that.
Is Ocarina of Time really the hardest
yeah.
Zelda game? That's crazy.
Dude, Ocarina of Time is not an easy Zelda game. It's
the
pretty
water
fucking hard.
temple makes people cry. That's true.
Yeah. Though I will say, going back and playing that as an adult, not as difficult
No.
as I remember.
It's a
No.
1 for me difficulty. No part is hard except sometimes Shadow Link.
Oh, it's a pretty
my God.
fucking hard game, man. You just
Best
you just
graphics.
have you speedrun that game though. So
All right.
anyway, overall rating and impression.
Yes.
We're gonna do like an on 3. Everyone's got this written down.
Let me see what mine is again.
We'll do it, and then I'm gonna explain why mine
Yeah.
is that, and then we'll go into our next segment, which is you guys can explain your scores for this game, and then we'll talk about just different, perspectives and things that we like. But we're gonna kind of do a deep dive on this game after this. But we'll all show our scores. I'll do my
And
explanation, and then
mine's
we'll
not
break into
written
that.
on
Worth
paper.
noting, we're gonna do the same thing for Mega Man X next week.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. So on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, mine's on my phone. You can barely see it. So here, can you see it?
Oh, 9,
Yes.
6.
Damn.
7.6.
fucking
7.6. That is brutal, Zach. I honestly expected it to
I told
be.
you weren't gonna like
I
it.
expected
What did you give it,
Josh's
Paul?
to be
9.8?
lower. I expected Josh's to be
No.
lower.
I can't.
And okay, so let me give my explanation of why.
Too much positive.
Sure.
You go first.
And then we'll pull off
Wait,
the
so what was
review
yours
screen
again,
and
Paul? You said 9.8,
9.7. 9.7.
9.7. Oh, you even beat me.
And
Shit.
here's the thing. I think this game would be a 10 if it wasn't for the controls. This is, I think, the best 3D Zelda game that I've played.
Damn, balls on
I know
this
that's very
man.
controversial.
The balls on this human.
but
I know,
like
right, Josh?
I think as far as like I said
He's
before,
not
I
far
think
off, though.
I
He's
think
not,
the
like, wrong for
story,
saying this.
I think the design, I think the mechanics, the boss design, the level design, like I think all of this is damn near flawless. And even though some of the motion controls can be annoying, that's mostly in the context of combat.
Yeah.
Everywhere else they do it, it's great. Like the flight stuff is awesome. The skydiving, awesome. The controlling your little bug guy, awesome. That stuff's all done really well. And not that like I don't think that part of it necessarily adds to or contributes to why I think this is the best 3D Zelda game. I think that because mostly the story, right? The story above all, I think is far and beyond better than.
Just bow down. This story made me cry the first time I beat it.
It's incredible.
Like, no joke.
It's absolutely
incredible.
Yeah.
If you pay attention, you get an insanely good, better than theater style, amazing lore-filled story that like makes the entire series that much more rich because of its existence. It's nuts.
Let's cut the review here and move into our next phase. And
I want to know what Zach is thinking here.
Yeah, we're gonna hear what Zach's thinking right after this. Let me switch back to the thing here in one.